Hello, everybody. I'm going to be reading chapters 3 and 4. This is Mr. Matson. He's going to do his best. Boats, boats, boats. It's just about all we talked about in room 26. Had to do with boats. There was a math problem about a boat race and a history lesson about the Vikings, who were great sailors and wore impressive hats with horns on them. There were also those lovely vocabulary words. And there was the story. Every day, Mrs. Brisbane read another exciting chapter from the book. Uncle Jolly Roger, who did seem unusually jolly for a pirate, taught Vic and Vi, that's what I called Victor and Violet, all kinds of wonderful things about sailing. They even had a run in with a huge whale. That part of the story gave I Heard That Kirk the chance to tell this joke. What do you call a baby whale? A little squirt. He all chuckled. We all chuckled at that. So in just a few short days, I went from never thinking about boats to thinking about them all the time. There were so many kinds of wonderful boats, so many kinds of wonderful boats. From the rowboats you move with oars and muscles to sailboats and tall ships powered by the wind. Then there were motorboats, yachts, tugboats, and ferries, which all have engines. And then there were great ships powered by steam. Mrs. Bisbane brought in more books about boats and put up huge posters on the wall. It would be hard to choose a favorite, but the Chinese junk did catch my eyes. That boat isn't junk at all, but a beautiful craft with colorful sails. I could almost feel the sea breeze tickle my whiskers whenever I looked at the picture. In the evening, I tried to talk to Og about boats and pirates and treasures, but as soon as I'd bring up the subject, he'd dive into his tank and swim around. Maybe he was trying to tell me that he didn't need a boat to make his way through the water. I was a little jealous, although I still wouldn't want to be a frog. As nice as Og is, he has googly eyes, green skin, and no nice soft fur at all. I occupied my spare time by drawing pictures of boats in my little notebook. I must admit, my drawing of the SS Golden Hamster, complete with a hamster flag, was quite impressive. On Friday, it was time to find out which of my friends would take me home for the weekend. Do you have the permission slip, Gail? Mrs. Bisbane asked. Gail pulled a slightly crumpled paper out of her pocket. Here it is, she said with a giggle. So I was going home with Gail. Since Gail loved to laugh so much, I was bound to have a fun weekend. Yippee! I was happy to see that she was also taking home a stack of books about boats. Gail's mom, Mrs. Morgenstern, came to pick us up. She was a colorful human who wore blue jeans, an orange sweater with red flowers on it, a yellow cap, and high red boots. Her hair was in long braid halfway down her back. You know what, Humphrey? I think I'm going to paint you this weekend, she said. Oh dear, Mrs. Morgenstern seemed like a nice person, but the thought of being all covered in wet and messy paint didn't sound fun to me. It won't be easy, Gail warned her. He won't stand still. Mrs. Morgenstern just smiled. I'll find a way. As she carried me out of the classroom, I squeaked to Og. Wish me luck, Oggy boy. I don't know what color I'll be when I come back. Maybe green, like you. Boing, 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 boing. Og sounded a little upset. Maybe he liked being the only green creature in room 26. When we got to the house, instead of painting me, Gail's mom gave me some carrots, gently set my cage on the nightstand in Gail's room. When we were alone, Gail curled up on her bed with her stack of books. Suddenly, there was a thundering sound, like a herd of wild horses coming into the room. Humphrey! It was Gail's brother, Simon. I met him once before when I stayed at the house. He was just about as tall as Gail. but she still called him her little brother. How's it going, Humphrey? What's new? What's happening? Look at your wheel. Can I feed you? Want out of your cage? That was how Simon talked, fast. Simon Humphrey's my class hamster. I'll feed him and take care of him, Gale scolded him. Ah, I just wanted to say hi. Hiya, Humphrey. Then Simon made a funny face, sticking his teeth out and holding his hands up to his face. See, I'm a hamster too. You're an idiot, said Gale. Go away. Okay, said Simon. I'll be right back. As he hurtled out of the room, Gale let out a big sigh. My brother, she groaned. She made a brother sound like a very bad thing. And yet, to a hamster who lives alone in a cage with a frog for a neighbor who doesn't even squeak, having a brother seemed like a very nice thing. I decided to cheer Gale up with a new trick I'd taught myself. Instead of getting on my wheel and spinning it, I'd lay down on my back underneath it, then reach my paws up and make the wheel spin with my feet. You better believe, stop giggling, Gale couldn't stop giggling at that until there was a knock at the door, and Gale's mom peeked into the room. May I come in? Mrs. Morgenstein entered, carrying a stack of boxes with lots of colorful bags hanging from her arms. Guess who went shopping today, she said. I guess Gale's mom did, and I was right. She dumped the boxes and the bags on Gale's bed. Wait till you see, she said, excitingly opening the boxes. I got you to the cutest outfits. Look at this darling skirt. She held up a skirt with blue, pink, yellow, green stripes on it. It will look great on you. Gale wrinkled her nose. But, Mom, I like pants for school. I mean, at recess. Well, these tights go underneath. Mrs. Morgenstern held up a bright pink pair. She rummaged around in a bag. I bought 3 skirts, one with stripes, one with stars, and one with flowers. But, Mom, I don't like skirts, Gale repeated. Try something new, dear. Mrs. Morgenstern pulled out a fuzzy-looking sweater, like this. Personally, I like fuzzy things, like hamster, but Gale ran her hand over the sweater and said, It's itchy. It looked itchy. Just try it, Gale's mom. Then reached over and opened a box. I had another brilliant idea today, she announced. We're going to redo your room. Gale blinked hard. Again? In with the new, out with the old, her mom said with a smile. But we just painted it last year, Gale reminded her, and I like the blue and white stripes. 2 years ago, said her mom, it's something we can do together. It will be fun. We'll give it a whole new look. You and I could paint a mural. We could make the whole room like the universe with all the planets, or the whole room could look like an ocean. Or, Gale sighed, I just got used to my room the way it is. Mrs. Morgenstein reached out and patted Gale's face. Honey, try and open up to new things. Change is good. Gale didn't answer. She stared down at her blue bedspread. Her mom frowned. Tell you what, I'll leave these samples here and you look at them and think about a mural. Okay? Just think about it. Sure, Mom, Gale replied. Gale didn't seem very excited about painting her room, but I thought it was a much better idea than painting me. After Mrs. Morgenstein left, Gale stared at her striped walls for a while. She pushed the paint samples aside, picked up one of her books. She turned a lot of pages, then suddenly held up her book to my cage. Look at this ship, Humphrey, she said. It was a picture of a lovely sailboat with a billowing white sail. I like it. I squeaked. I know that all Gale heard was squeak, 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 but she seemed to understand. It's beautiful, isn't it? She asked. Yes, 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 I agreed. Gale sighed again. Sometimes I like to sail away on a ship and go far, far away, she said. To Brazil, I said with a squeak. Maybe it was more like a squeak. Shriek. You could come with me, said Gale. Then she went back to her bed and her stack of books. Really, Gale? Really, Gale's family couldn't have been nicer to me. great snacks, a great cage, clean, no jokes about my poo. Still, I was nervous about being painted. You see, I'm a golden hamster, which means I have very beautiful, glossy golden fur. I never really wanted to be another color. Not red, not blue, not green. I'm not sure there are any hamsters in those colors. Humphrey, you didn't eat your carrots, Mrs. Morgenstein said later that night. I didn't have the heart to tell her that. Every time I saw the carrots, I thought about being painted orange. Orange is a very nice color for a sweater or a book or a hat, even a pair of socks. It's not good color for a hamster, and at least in my opinion. Hi, Humphrey. Want to spin on your wheel? Go on, spin it. Want to climb on the tree branch? Come on, climb. It was morning, and Simon was back. As much as I like Simon, it's hard to keep up with him. Still, he was so excited about everything I wanted to make him happy, so I hopped on my wheel. This time Gail didn't even seem to notice. She just sat on her bed staring at the picture of boats in the books. Out, out, Mrs. Morgenstein said as she came into Gail's room. I'm here to paint him. Oh, Mom, Gail groaned. Can't we just take a picture? Anyone can do that, your mom answered. This is more original. Can I paint him too? Simon asked. Please? Miss Morgenstein smiled. Of course, we'll all paint him. Eek. If they're all painted me, if they all painted me, I'd end up looking like a rainbow. And I'd probably be a soggy mess. Og won't even recognize me when I got back. Okay, said Gail, but she didn't sound all that happy about it. Soon my cage was on the Morgenstern's kitchen table. Simon, Gail, and her mom all sat around the paper and paints and stared at me. Mrs. Morgenstein said, who seemed like a kind and sensible man, said he had errands to do, and hurried out of the house before the painting even began. All right, or okay, sorry, okay, artist, Mrs. Morgenstern said. Feel free to paint Humphrey any way you like. He doesn't even have to look like a hamster. I'd prefer to look like a hamster, I squeaked. A nice golden hamster with lovely fur and no paint at all. Thank you very much. What's he squeaking about? Simon asked. I don't know, but please hold still, Humphrey, his mom told me. I tried to hold still, but whiskers were quivering, my legs were shaking. I closed my eyes, waiting to feel the wet, gloppy paint on my fur, but my fur felt just fine. So after a while, I opened my eyes and saw 3 Morgensterns putting lots of lovely paint on paper. They weren't painting me at all. They were painting pictures of me. Whew, whew, whew. I was so relieved, I hopped on my wheel for a lovely spin. Humphrey, hold still, Gail said. Oops, sorry, I squeaked. I jumped off the wheel and held as still as a lively hamster can. After a few minutes, though, my back leg started itchy and my nose started twitching and I had a little cramp in my front paw. Luckily, Mrs. Morgenstern said, well, I think I've captured our little friend. How about you two? She held up her painting to show Gail and Simon. I couldn't get a good look at it, but I could see that there wasn't anything golden about her hamster. There was a yellow and blue and maybe some purple. I think this shows the true spirit of Humphrey. I didn't have any time to think about why my true spirit is yellow, blue, and purple, because Simon waved his picture right in my face. Here you are, Humphrey. Simon's painting showed an orange blob with all kinds of swirly lines, but no hamster that I could see. Mrs. Morgenstern leaned in to examine the picture closely. That's very interesting, Simon. Tell me about it. It's all squiggly, because he was spinning on his wheel like this. Simon jumped on his chair and began twirling in a circle. Perfectly wonderful. I see his eye in the center and his mother. You can stop spinning now. Then she turned to Gail. Let's see your Humphrey. Gail held up the paper that showed a perfectly wonderful picture of me. I had 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 front legs and paws, 2 back legs and paws, some whiskers, and some lovely golden fur. Oh, said Gail's mother. It looks like him, doesn't it? Asked Gail. Mrs. Morgenstern nodded. Yes, It, it looks a lot like him. It's just Gail seemed upset and not all giggly. What's wrong with it? It's fine, honey, her mom said. I just like you to paint what you feel, not just what you see. Like Simon's picture. You can feel Humphrey's energy, can't you? Actually, Simon's picture made me a little queasy, while Gail's picture made me feel very handsome. Mrs. Morgenstern patted Gail's hand. It's a very good picture, Gail. After her mom and brother left, Gail sat, stared at her picture for a while. You're such a pretty color, Humphrey. Why would I make you blue? She asked. I didn't have an answer, but it was time for me to squeak up. I love your picture, I told her. I'll never know if she understood me because the phone rang and Gail ran off to answer it. The life of a pirate. Ah, there will be a work of art, me buckos. From Jolly Roger's Guide to Life by I.C. Waters. Chapter 4 already. Later, Gail's best friend, Heidi, came over, and the two girls went outside to jump rope. Even in the house, I could hear them chatting. Teddy bear, turn around. Teddy bear, touch the ground. Teddy bear, touch your shoe. Teddy bear, that will do. Gail was giggling again, which made me feel good. Good, good. Then I heard Miss Morgenstern go outside. Gail, maybe Heidi can help you decide how to decorate your room, she said. The giggling stopped. Later, Mom, Gail answered. That sounds like fun, Heidi said. Paint it pink. Paint it with purple curtains and bedspread. Heidi always had very definite ideas. I don't like pink, Gail said. I like it the way it is. We'll talk about it later, Miss Morgenstern told them. Just think about a mural. Soon the girls were jumping rope again. I hopped on my wheel, started spinning. Spinning always helps me think. I could tell that Gail was unhappy about changing her room. I hate to see my friends feeling unhappy, so I needed to come up with a plan. On the one paw, Gail didn't like change. On the other paw, her mom wanted to encourage Gail to try something new. So farther so far, neither of them wanted to give in. I don't know much about decorating girls' rooms. Personally, I like to be surrounded by soft bedding and tree branches. With my wheel and my sleeping hut nearby, I don't think Mrs. Morgenstern would go that far. I didn't see anything wrong with Gail's room. Still, I'd be happy when Mr. Binsbane took the cage. I liked and added all kinds of fun things. Maybe Gail would be happy with some changes in her room too. As I whirled and twirled my wheel, I stared at the paint samples lying on Gail's bed. Maybe there was something Gail would like if she'd only look at them. The sound of Heidi and Gail jumping rope drifted in through the open window. Mabel, Mabel, set the table just as fast as you are able. Don't forget the salt, vinegar, mustard, hot pepper. Then they counted very fast as I heard the snap, snap, snap of the rope hitting the ground. From the sounds of things, they'd be jumping for a while, so I decided to take an unsqueakably big chance and check out those paint colors for myself. It was easy to swing open the door to my cage. My lock that doesn't lock has never let me down. The hard part of my job was getting from place to place. Leaping from the nightstand to the bed looked too dangerous even for me. I'm adventurous, but I'd like to be safe. I also needed to get to the samples and back to my cage as fast as possible in case someone decided to check up on me. While I was thinking how hard it was for a very small hamster to get around in a human-sized world, I noticed the electrical cord leading from my lamp on the nightstand too. Well, I couldn't see exactly where, but it was probably plugged in behind the bed. I am smart enough to know not to fool around with electricity. Nibbling on that cord could be a bad mistake. But I figured I could gently slide down the cord and leap onto the bed at just the right moment. So I took a deep breath. I grabbed the cord. It was smoother than expected, which meant the ride down was also much faster than expected. Whee! I squeaked as I slid down the bed and let go. Plop. I hadn't expected my slide down the cord to pull the lamp over on its side with a loud thump. Thank goodness it didn't break. I also hadn't planned to land right on the stack of paint samples, but it was lucky that I did because they all spread out like a beautiful rainbow before me. I never knew that there were so many colors, but where to start? I pulled out sky blue, which was a nice color. The clouds and the sun and the trees all looked pretty against the sky. Green grass was nice too. Flowers looked great, great, great. Again, a green backdrop. I wasn't too fond of pink, and neither was Gale. Oh dear, I wasn't making much progress. Engine number 9, coming down Chicago line. If the train jumps off the track, do you want your money back? At least Gale and Heidi were still busy. I pulled out the next sample, which was a golden brown tan. Golden. I held my paw against it, and the paint exactly matched my golden fur. My fur was beautiful color. Everybody said so. I pulled the sample away from the others, so it stood alone, right in the middle of the bed. Then I heard thundering footsteps and a familiar, "Hiya, Humphrey!" Simon was coming, and there was no way to get back to the cage before he arrived. I dived underneath Gale's pillow, crossed my paws, hoping he wouldn't find me there. It was dark and scary and awfully stuffy under that pillow. I could hear Simon's muffled voice say, "Want to ride in your hamster ball? Humphrey! Hey, Humphrey!" Oh no, Humphrey. Simon must have noticed that I wasn't in my cage. Next I heard the distant sounds of footsteps leaving the room. Gasping for air, I crawled out from underneath the pillow, scurried across the bedspread. Oh joy, this was my lucky day. The lamp was still lying on its side with the shade on the bed, the base on the nightstand, forming a perfect bridge. I pulled myself up onto the shade, scampered across the lamp, and gently dropped down on the nightstand. I made sure to close the cage door behind me before taking a dive under the bedding. "He's gone, Mom. He's not in his cage," Simon shouted as he dragged his mother into Gale's room. I could hear Gale and Heidi coming up behind them, making worried noises about me. "Calm down, everybody," Miss Morgenstern said. "Let's check out his cage." Just as they were approaching, I crawled out from under my bedding, trying to look a little sleepy. "See, Mom, he's gone. He's really gone," Simon exclaimed. I yawned, making sure to let out a little squeak. "There he is, honey," I heard Miss Morgenstern say, and "he was just hiding." Simon shook his head. "No, Mom, he was gone." Miss Morgenstern noticed the lamp and picked it up.